Kenya revealed some explicit photos at her opening. This incident led to Bravo ceased filming.
It wasn't fair what Bravo did as far as just, giving us so much and then not letting Kenya at least say her side, explain her side, whether you agree with her or not.
That's all I'm
Well, if
saying.
you listen to the wording a bit more in
I did
depth,
listen to the wording.
well, maybe you can listen a bit closer. You would have
No,
seen we.
I'm listening closely. My phone is right here.
Okay, well maybe you can stop speaking right now.
Hold on, I want to go home. I don't want to. I know Victor's about to say more,
Oh,
but everyone looking in, make
ooh,
sure that you like
honey, he
this
said, I know
video.
Victor's about to say more. Let me cut it off right
And
here, honey. Ooh, honey.
well, yeah, I don't want us to keep going. I want to go. Make sure you like this video,
Catch that
and
shade,
the
bro
Bros of
chat
Bro Chat will
audience.
be back. Okay, what else are you
I said,
saying,
catch that
Victor?
shade. You hear it, so right here, honey.
This is why I'm kind of
Okay.
done for the day. Okay, so I'm gonna end the call. Hey everyone, it's your bro, Mitch Kimbro, and you're watching Bro Chat, where me and my bros debate some of your favorite topics. Today, we don't have Eric. Eric, who's one half of the Blue Eyed Bandits, is
Yeah.
not on Bro Chat today. He has a day off. But we do have Lawton back to guest co-host.
Hello.
Hey,
Welcome back,
Lawton.
Lawton.
Thank you.
Hello.
It's
All
me.
right, bros. So, in response to Brit Eady's pistol remark, Kenya revealed some explicit photos at her opening, her Kenya Moore hair care opening. This incident led to Bravo ceased filming with Kenya. Kenya is giving her side of the story on YouTube.
Let me say this for the people in the back. We did not get any photos from any person. They came directly from a search online. The photos that were revealed are not considered revenge porn. I want to make sure I didn't break any laws. So I engaged a local attorney who advised me about the federal law as well as the Georgia state law.
And I want to know from the bros, do you think Kenya's confessionals it will hurt her chances of returning to Real Housewives of Atlanta?
I absolutely think it's gonna hurt her chances. We all know what happens when you speak out about things that happen behind the scenes and production. They already don't like you to talk about things that happen when you break the fourth wall, and I kind of wish Kenya would just let it, simmer down a bit. I understand why she wants to do it because she feels silenced. It wasn't
Yeah.
fair what Bravo did as far as just giving us so much and then not letting Kenya at least say her side, explain her side, whether you agree with her or not. I feel like we should have at least gotten that much from her. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Lawton, what do you
First of
think?
all, I love Kenya. I love Britt. Okay. It's unfortunate how it all went down. Okay. Do I think that it is going to hurt her chances? Yes. Do I think it's going to be juicy? Yes. But I am looking forward to see if there can be some recollection of the both of them. I will say that, Kenya is upset that Britt said something about a gun and a whip. And that's totally understandable, okay? But in season 6, whenever Kenya and Phaedra had a beef, she actually took out a gun when she was talking with her friend Brandon.
Do I need to pack some heat? If things get out of hand,
What do you have
I
here?
might just have to bring out my firearm.
Oh, that's my
And was like, well, if things get out of hand, I have my pistol right here. So it's kind of like, listen, I love that Kenya has evolved, but you're kind of doing like the same thing that Britt did to you because you actually was like, oh, if things get out of hand, I'm going to shoot Phaedra. Not that I said that she did shoot Phaedra, but she did show the gun off. Okay.
Yeah, we know she didn't
Yeah,
Yeah,
we know.
shoot.
like she
Yeah, you're
didn't
right.
We
She
she
know
didn't
didn't
that.
shoot.
shoot, she didn't shoot, but she
No, she didn't
showed
do
the
that.
gun.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
But
So
was Phaedra around in
Phaedra
that
was
clip?
Phaedra was not around. I'm just saying that whenever there was mentions of a gun and being combative with the person, okay,
They both
that's what I'm
mentioned
talking about.
guns.
They both mentioned it. That's all I'm
Mm.
saying. That's all I'm saying. Okay, and you can watch the clip. I mean, it's season 6, episode 7,
Oh no,
so you
I've
can
seen the
watch it.
clip. I was just
Okay,
clarifying.
And
okay.
and can I say this? I think what he's referring to, we weren't outraged then because the climate was different,
Mm-hmm.
right? If this Brit
Yeah,
Eady
Yeah.
situation happened in 2010, 11, 12, 13, we would not have the same outrage. I'm not saying that she's right. I'm
it's
not
justified.
justifying what
Yeah.
Brit did, right? But we can't ignore the facts that a lot of things that are not accepted now were once somewhat accepted. I don't agree with what
Yeah.
Brit said or did, but
Me either.
Well, listen, Atlanta has Brit Eady, Bro Chat. We have our Brit, Victor.
Uh,
Victor, what do you think? What do you think of this
Baby,
whole thing?
if I'm related to that Brit in any type of way, I'm about to trade in this passport and fly back to Brazil because I'm a dual citizenship. I'm gonna let you know I'm gonna chuck this one away and I'm going right on to Brazil, honey. Okay, and don't put me in the don't do that, honey. I'm
Oh,
not that type of Brit now. Okay. So, but what I think of the situation, and we do hear from Kenya in Kenya's confessions, that something that didn't make the cut that was said was, I've had pistols, to deal with chicks like that. Kenya also in the preview for that included a clip online where Britt says that she has pistols. And something that Britt said
yes.
after this was airing, as we see on the show, and Britt was getting lots of messages and attention, something Britt put on her Instagram story is she said, I never own a weapon and I would never threaten anyone with a pistol. So she
She's lying.
denied it,
She's
and that
lying
was
though.
to me a lie.
Yeah.
And we know also from our interview with Kelly that she's seen Britt with a weapon. So I think the duplicity of what Britt is saying, and to just go on that comparison Lawton was making, Kenya made a joke, a funny remark when she wasn't in the middle of an argument, when Phaedra wasn't even around. She made a joke and a statement. Britt, in a moment that was intense with Kenya in earshot, talked about I have pistols to deal with girls like that.
Mm-hmm.
In an intense moment, someone you don't know very well. I think that's a lot more threatening, and I think that's a lot more different. I don't think Kenya would ever dream about talking about a pistol in a heated moment with someone. We've seen Kenya in very heated moments. We've even seen Kenya being dragged, but we've never seen her in any of those heated moments talking about pulling a gun on someone when she's getting upset. So I think even to have that instinct is dangerous to me, and that's just my opinion.
Well, this
Lon, what
is
do you
what I
think?
have to say is in 2016, and I know that this is, protecting your property, but there were 2 men or 3 men that hopped her gate and she pulled out a gun,
As she
So
should.
so I'm just saying, you're saying that she never pulled out a gun in a heated argument, okay?
With
Or a
any of
heat
the women. But this
okay,
we're talking
but
about a
Well,
you
let
you
homicide.
said, hold
Lon
up.
finish his
You
thought.
said that she never pulled out a gun in a heated moment. She did. So that's all I'm saying. I know she has the right to justify and be capable of protecting her house. Okay? There's no problem with that. Okay?
What I
So you should have worded the question differently. That's all I'm
Well,
saying.
if you listen to the wording a bit more in
I did
depth,
listen to the wording.
well, maybe you can listen a bit closer. You would have seen
No,
we've
I'm listening closely. My phone is right here.
Okay, well maybe you can stop speaking right now so you can listen a bit closer.
Well, we're
So
having
you
a
would have
conversation right now.
well, I was trying to make a statement.
Well,
So if you
well,
could let me finish,
well,
that'd be
Victor,
lovely.
make your
Absolutely.
Victor, make your
So
point.
with what you was what with what I said specifically, I said we've seen Kenya on the show for a long time have lots of heated moments. We've even seen her being dragged. Emphasis on the show. This is something that did not happen in the show. This is someone who broke into private properties who
Yes.
were appearing threatening, and she defended herself, and she didn't shoot anyone, but she used a gun to defend herself. And these are men that we're talking about. The climate between men coming up in a woman and breaking into her private property is extremely different to having a verbal argument with someone in a reality TV show that you signed up for. So I think those are those kind of big parallels with that. was
And
how I would
I
respond to
I
that.
understand that. I understand about protecting your house. I'm just going back to the question when you said she never pulled out a gun in a heated
On
moment.
the
That's
show.
all I'm
On the
saying.
show.
Okay? Okay,
I
that's
said on
all
the
I'm
show.
saying. All right?
Okay.
But all I'm saying is that both of them were wrong. Two wrongs don't make a right. Okay? Both of them are wrong in different ways. Okay? Britt is saying that she talked with Kelly whenever they were exiting the bank restaurant. Okay? That's a lie. Because if you are talking to your friend, you're looking at them. She was looking right here. I don't know if Kelly had an out of body experience and then Britt was just looking at Kelly's spirit far away, close to Kenya. I don't know if that happened, okay? Because I wasn't there. I'm not Britt. But all I'm saying is she lied, okay? She lied. She was talking directly to Kenya to get a moment. And listen,
Kenya
with
was an
me,
earshot. Yeah, I
yeah,
agree.
so I think that first of all, if anything, I'm the swifter jet because I'm going to collect that dust and pay you none. Okay. So I don't think that she had the right to escalate the situation and then cry and be like, oh my gosh, Kenya did this. Girl, you've been escalating it since day one. What are you talking about? It went from a not some shade about the ring, okay, which I thought was funny. Okay, I just thought it was funny, just like quick shade
Do
and
you think it
stuff.
was shade though?
I don't think that was shade.
Because people are saying it wasn't, but I
I
thought it
thought it
was.
was
She
funny
was.
shade. I thought it was funny shade. I didn't think it was a big problem. Okay,
It wasn't a big
but
deal, right? But Kenya was
no,
definitely trying to, you
I
know,
don't think
yeah, just see
so.
let's
what's
get
going on. See what's going on.
right. Let's see what's
But
going on.
whenever they had the event at Kelly's, okay, I thought Kenya and Britt were got along fine.
Wait, hold on. We're getting
What
a bit
event at
ahead.
Kelly's?
So hold on. I think that it's important for us to hear from Kenya. We haven't heard from her throughout the entire season. And right
I
now,
agree.
Kenya's in this position to where she's not able to respond and react in the same way as Britt. There's an entire episode dedicated to Britt's feelings, Britt's reaction, and Britt's thoughts. We didn't get that same type of experience on Kenya's end. So it is important, in my view, for us to hear
Yes,
from Kenya. Now, is it going to bite her?
I
yeah,
don't
It
think it
might.
should.
It's tough.
And
I agree
I
yeah.
with
don't think it
Victor.
should, but I
It
think it
shouldn't.
could.
It
Because we
shouldn't.
see housewives in other franchises that are predominantly more white, like Tamara, like Bethany, we've seen people really bash the show and
Yeah,
have Lisa Rinna even was speaking to Andy, and there's even a chance in conversation that she could come back. And we see Lisa
Nene,
Rinna saying it's a
Nene's a good
sinking ship.
example.
Lisa Rinna saying it's a sinking ship, Bethany talking so much crap about it and trying to
hmm,
start a union against reality TV. And these people are people that Andy has had conversations with about potentially coming back. And it seems like Kenya isn't given that opportunity. And I
no,
think the parallel Kenya made in the confessions was absolutely right. If this was happening in Beverly Hills towards Kyle, or in another franchise where someone was talking about pulling out a pistol with someone in earshot during an altercation, I think there would have been a very different response. So there are those
absolutely.
parallels. And I
Hmm.
don't think Kenya sharing her side of the story when something is airing on television and she doesn't have the same, is very one sided from what we see. I don't think she should be punished for saying her side of the story. I
Yeah,
don't.
But do
I
you think? Do you think that Bravo will bring her back? Do you think they're gonna be done with her for good?
I think it just seems to me, just from the conversation, I really look at Andy and the way that he's responding about stuff. I've seen Andy, you know, really try and throw so many bones over to Britt on Watch What Happens Live,
yeah,
giving her all of the opportunities to speak and clarify about the investigation, giving her trying to give her the space to really voice why she had that frustration with Kenya and try and have that justification.
Yeah.
So I think based off the response, also based off Andy allowing co-hosts on Radio Andy. Yeah,
Yeah. So
let me
we're
stop.
kind of
Okay,
we're getting
let me stop here. I'm gonna stop there.
entirely away.
But
But
yeah,
no, let me bring us back. Let me kind of get us back. So on Radio Andy, his co-host label Kenya's actions as revenge porn. Bros, do you think it's fair to label what Kenya did with those explicit photos as revenge porn? Damien, what do you
And
think?
just to be clear, not only was it Revenge P, they also said SA too, right? Didn't they
Yes.
say it was?
Yeah,
Yeah, they
sexual
compared it to
assault.
that. No,
Yeah,
I don't think it's the same because for one, if these what they're saying is true, these photos were already online. And
Mm.
revenge corn is something that the world doesn't have access to. Only
Yeah.
you have access to, and then someone else shares it to spite you. So if these photos were already online of Brit, then that can't be what it is. And as far as it being sexual assault, I don't think that that's considered sexual assault either. Now, I
Definitely
could
not.
be
Yeah.
wrong because I was talking to Victor about this at one point. They were on the radio show, or somebody was trying to justify it by saying that if you show explicit images to someone, and some people can feel uncomfortable, like unwanted. If you show unwanted photos that are nude, some people can get offended, uncomfortable, and that's considered sexual assault. But I just feel
Hmm.
like that's a little bit of a stretch because
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
two words, sexual assault, that carries, that
Physical. It's
follows
a
you.
physical implication as well.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. So no, I don't agree with what they said.
But if I can just add on to what Damien said, I feel like they're putting so many
yeah.
labels to make Kenya be the villain. Okay. And look at Brittany and be like, oh, she's still on Housewives, she's the good guy in all of this. I don't know how many rabbit holes that we have gone through with the whole thing about what happened at the salon, okay? Because it went from Kenya exposing Britt, okay? Then it went to revenge porn. Then it went to child pornography, okay? Like whenever I saw that, I was completely taken back because it's like you're putting so much context into the situation, but yet you weren't there, you know? And I don't understand why people want to create this rabbit hole and start really trying to dissect it because we even got Ming Ling, who's going to be on Basketball Wives.
Not Ming
She,
Ling.
Ming Ling,
what's her name?
Ming Lee, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, I listen. I thought it was
She's Kamora Lee's
LIVG.
daughter.
We're still getting to
We're
know
still
her. We're
getting
still
to
getting
know
to
her,
know her.
but Britt said
Yeah.
something that she had photos and gave it to Kenya. Like, how many rabbit holes are we
You're
going to
right.
go through with this
Right.
whole situation? Like you weren't there, and everything that was shown on TV, was it justified? No, two wrongs don't make a right. But I do believe that if you're going to give Britt another chance, okay, then you need to give Kenya another chance as well.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. And I think it surprises me that the bros don't view this as revenge porn. To me, it clearly
Why do you
is.
think so?
And the reason why is because there was no consent. Just because, to Damien's point, just because the photos were already available online, that doesn't mean that Kenya is allowed to show it in a public space. She had no consent to do that, but she did it anyway for
Yeah.
revenge.
I think the difference there, Mitch, is that revenge corn specifically, by definition on the dictionary, is the distribution of private
Right.
images and
Hmm.
Yeah,
videos,
yeah.
and that's the official definition. And I think we're not arguing that it's morally correct for Kenya to do that. I don't think that was the right action for Kenya to do at her opening,
Yeah.
but um. At, and in fact, I think if Kenya did anything, if she really wanted to get back of her, I think she could say there are these images and videos that exist of you, but I don't think she should have showed them. I think we can all agree with that, but I don't think it's revenge corn. And I think saying things like essay and revenge corn and Andy being there and not correcting that is putting a false narrative.
But it's not just about the content already being available, it's the violation. It's a violation of someone's privacy, is what Kenya did. And I think that um, it definitely relates because it was meant to
Yeah.
shame. And that's what revenge porn is
But
all about. It's meant
But
to
that's not the
shame
word.
the
Mitch, I
individual.
feel like what Melody and Martell went through on Love and Marriage Huntsville was revenge
Yeah.
too.
That
That's
was
true.
because
because that was
no,
I'm seeing
private.
both sides.
right,
That
because
was
I mean,
private.
I'm thinking about like Kim K and her sex tape. If I show that to the world and like, look, I can't stand Kim K. Everybody, look at this. Is that revenge? P?
No,
It's it's the intent behind
that's
sharing
not
it.
the
The
definition.
intent behind Kenya, the intent behind Kenya sharing those photos was all about revenge. Those explicit photos of Britt. It was about revenge. How do we not connect it to revenge porn? And I just don't see it as anything
I
but
think you're
that.
putting two words together. I think you're putting the revenge because she did it as revenge, and then you're putting a corn because
And it's explicit
because it's explicit
photos,
photos.
explicit
But
content.
revenge corn is a specific term that has legal, a kind of a specific, very legal definition to it. The revenge corn specifically, that would be classed as a crime, that would be classed as official definition, means the sharing of images and videos that are private. If you put something on the internet as a cam girl, that as Britt said she did, then you're putting something there that's going to exist and have a footprint on the internet forever. Therefore, that would not be revenge con.
And I get what Victor is saying because whenever, for example, when Rob Kardashian posted Black China's nudes, phone number, everything like that, it got into a civil lawsuit. It got into a very big lawsuit. So I understand what Victor is saying. I do also get what Mitch is saying, okay?
Mhm.
But what I will say is, like, I don't understand why Kenya would do this at the opening of her salon if this is for Brooklyn.
Exactly.
Like, you're having Brooklyn's name
That's the big
attached
thing.
to this salon. So it's like, why would you want to attach these disturbing pictures, photos to not only Brooklyn, but to people that don't even know the situation? They're just, there, and they're looking at all these images and they're like taken back. And I would have left. If I was part of the cast or if I was a stranger that came to our opening, I would have left too. Because it's like, I'm celebrating you. Why do you want to create a moment to downplay another person? Like, why? Why would you want to do that?
And remember, Bravo cut the footage because it was too
Yeah,
graphic. The screen went
yeah,
black
Yeah.
with
yeah,
text because the content was too graphic to show on television. That speaks
yeah.
volumes to me. And it shows that even the production recognized that the content was inappropriate and damaging, and it was meant to shame
Yeah,
Yeah,
Brit.
the production recognized that it was shameful, all right. Yet they
Yeah.
allowed Kenya to go out there and twirl and show it. Because that's one thing that no, that I feel like a lot of people are forgetting to realize is that the producers knew. They
hmm
knew. They went over this with Kenya before she walked out there. What do you got? Oh, let me see. Okay, these poster boards. They should have shut it down right then and there. But they didn't think. I don't think they thought that they were going to get the backlash that they got. And then when they did get the backlash, they threw Kenya off the side of the ship, off the plank.
hmm
Sorry, we got to throw you because and their hands are clean.
Damien, you've worked as a producer before. If you were there as a producer with Kenya, would you have seen the poster if you were with Kenya the whole day in the salon? Is there a way Kenya could have snuck in the poster without anyone
hmm
seeing?
I guess to give you for benefit of the doubt, I guess she could have had them already there, not mentioned them to production, and surprised everybody with them. But I just find that I don't know if I
Hard
believe
to
that.
believe.
Yeah, I see her more so being like, look what I'm gonna do. Look, guys, what do y'all think about this? I don't.
We're still learning the details of these particular
hmm
photos. Brit wasn't in control of her own privacy, but once the images were shared publicly without her consent, it becomes a violation.
I think it can definitely be. I mean, it's hard because these pictures are public, but I do think it was a violation as well. I don't think it was revenge porn. But what I'm just gonna say to circle back to what we're talking about here, and Lawton, your question around I'm not going to try and justify Kenya's actions, but I think there are some gaps to fill in with context.
Yeah.
When Kenya went to production to talk about with to talk about the situation with Britt and
hmm
Britt saying the pistol comment, there have been friends of Kenya, people associated with the cast come forward saying, "Oh, Kenya, you didn't hear that. It wasn't that serious." They
Yeah.
did an investigation, which was basically just to ask Britt if she had a pistol on her, and she
Yeah.
said no, and that was it. And I don't think there was any regard and care to her safety. To me, at that point, they should have stopped filming, and I don't even think Britt should have been allowed to come to Kenya's
Absolutely.
event.
Yeah.
But that those measures weren't taken by Bravo to do that. I think we've also seen that Bravo last season, season 15, they didn't air Kenya's opening. They cut it because they didn't think it was interesting enough. So I
Yeah.
think it was a parallel of making sure I really want to make sure my event is seen, and also a parallel of saying this girl can I have to find a way to protect myself, so this girl isn't the aggressor. So I can come in and be the aggressor myself, so I don't have to be on defense for someone that could kind of come at me that way. And I don't think there's any justification with what Kenya did,
Yeah.
but I think that might have been. She opened up on the Tamron Hall show about feeling the need to
So when it
about
comes
feeling the
to
need to protect herself.
hold on. Yeah. So when it comes to the response
Mm-hmm.
after, when it comes to response after this entire event, where Britt and Kenya are both reacting to the public, who do you think had the better reaction after all of this went down between Kenya and
And Brett.
Britt? Victor, you were going into it
Oh, I'm
earlier
sorry.
on. What is it?
But yeah, I think that the person who had the better reaction between Kenya and Britt, we've heard people disparage production before. We've heard it with Lisa Renner saying it's a sinking ship without her. We've heard Bethany talk badly about production and be invited back. We've heard Tamra. There's multiple lists of people. And I do see that double standard with Kenya. I also see with Kenya that she brought up that if someone said that to Kyle on Beverly Hills or another franchise, there'd be different repercussions. And I do think there are those double standards that exist. And I think Kenya should. It's all been very one-sided so far. Britt has been given the confessionals in the room to speak,
Yeah.
and Kenya hasn't been given that opportunity. To me, Kenya I think Kenya's allowed to share her perspective. What I find more offensive is the fact that when this did happen, Britt lied and she put out an Instagram story saying that she never has a pistol, even though there
Yeah.
are interviews saying that she does have a pistol. And Britt also said that it never happened. And she convinced people for a while until they saw the show that there was no remnant of her even saying anything pistol related, and it turned out not to be true. So I think someone who is deceptive, I think to me that's the worst response.
Wait, Victor, and you make a great point because she's also lied recently, bold faced, brazenly just lied and said, I lost my insurance license.
Yeah.
When
And she
she
Exactly.
didn't
knew
lose it.
when she knew
And it
good
was
and
an
well
Yeah.
investigation.
she did not lose those licenses. And I don't think she thought about it or realized it or knew that Miss Angela Oakley had that license and knew all
Mm-hmm.
about how that
Exactly.
works. Because she clocked it real quick and was like, hold on a minute, how did you lose your license over there? And
Yeah.
then that's when Britt, we see her reel it back. Oh, well,
Really get defensive.
I'm under
She
Yeah.
got very
investigation.
defensive.
Under investigation and losing your license are two very different things. And Britt
Yes.
is coming in doing a lot at the beginning. I was so excited about her because she gave me like Portia vibes based
Yeah.
off of looks only. I thought she was going to be an Atlanta it girl, but she's came in very performative, very
Mm-hmm.
aware of the cameras, too aware of the
Yes.
cameras, too excited. It's giving fangirl. I feel like she's been watching Housewives her whole life.
But can I just say something? I want to go back, and I know nobody has talked about this, but I remember when Kenya was on Carlos King's podcast, and she said, I have never been protected by production.
Hmm.
And she said that over and over and over again. And she's like, a lot of other people have been protected by production. And it's sad because I feel like Kenya has given so much of her life, you know? And call it whatever you want, fake storylines or anything. She has brought Atlanta to where it's supposed to be. She is one of the characters, okay? And I love her for that. It's sad to be working with the production company and actually feel that way and but have the courage to say it. And I don't know if production was listening to what she said, but I just think that, Kenya needs to be given the chance to tell her side, either through a Watch What Happens one on one interview or with her confessions, something, because this situation was totally, it was, both sides are at fault. That's all I'm going to say.
Right. Because I want to recognize the accountability that I heard from Kenya earlier on before the season
Mm.
even aired. Because Kenya went on
Hmm.
Tamron Hall. Tamron Hall challenged her
Yes.
intensely. And Kenya accepted the challenge, and Kenya took accountability before we even saw any footage. Along with that, Britt on Watch What Happens Live, she was challenged by Andy Cohen, and she also made it very clear that she was wrong to
Yeah.
mention the pistol. So I've heard and seen accountability from both women, and I want to see them both continue
Yes.
on the show. I think for anyone to say that Kenya should stay over Britt or Britt should stay over Kenya and choose between the two, it's hard to make a
Yeah.
false choice because you can't, keep one and get rid of the other and
But
Mm.
justify
but
it.
Britt's also giving kind of giving an ultimatum in a way because she says
Yes.
she doesn't want to be in the same room with Kenya.
Mm.
So if they do want them both back, how is that going to work? I mean, I see Britt sucking it up and saying, "Okay, I'll film with her, so I don't lose this check." But
Hmm.
Yeah. No one has room to put out ultimatums and have those ultimatums be honored. Like no one is in that space to
unless you're
where
Candy
that can even be
Burris,
heard unless you're Katie Burton.
I
Especially
think you
someone
have
so
to
new.
collect your
Yeah,
seasons
but I want to go
before you
home.
do that.
I want to go. I want to go home. I don't want to. I know Victor's about to say more,
Uh,
but everyone looking in, make
oh,
sure that you like
honey, he
this
said, I know Victor's
video.
about to say more. Let me cut it off right
And
here, honey. Ooh, honey.
well, yeah, I don't want to keep. I don't want us to keep going. I want to go. Make sure you like this video,
Catch that
and the
shade, bro
Bros of
chat
Bro Chat will be
audience.
back. Okay, what else are you
I said,
saying,
catch that
Victor?
shade. You hear it, so right here,
Oh
honey.
Lord.
But yeah, you can wrap up.
I'm gonna end. I think we're
Yeah.
done. We're done.
thank you all for watching. We'll see you next
Why are you guys
time.
acting? Why are you guys acting
Well, we didn't
awkward?
do an outro.
What?
Yeah, you do the outro.
I was waiting on it.
I tried, but Victor tends to
Well, you
have
threw shade,
Victor.
honey. I'm
You
going to
have a
catch it if
lot
you
to.
throw shade.
What is the
You
shade that I'm
said,
Mhm.
throwing
I
at
heard Victor's
you?
about to speak, so let me end here.
Yeah, so we don't go even further down. We're wrapping it up. We're
Okay. Well, you
finished.
can finish.
So you're saying you
We
were going to
did.
let him speak just after the recording was finished?
Yeah.
No,
No,
I
he
didn't
said
say
Victor's
that.
about to speak, so let me finish right now. That's what he said.
This is why I'm kind of
Okay.
done for the day. Okay, so I'm gonna end. I'm gonna end the call.